Floating Head Chronicles, happy Monday. If you guys haven't heard about this story, which is kind of going circulating around, so if you haven't, you probably will after you see this, but let's discuss. So here is Ryan Roth and his two sons, just so you have a picture of Ryan. So to give you a backstory, 2012, they're doing some partaking in some activities, and guy had a lot of substances in his body. And when Roth came up from behind and tried to get the blade from him, he was stabbed repeatedly. And if you could see, fled through 3 counties and 2 spike strips before taken down by a police dog. He pleaded out to voluntary manslaughter and sentenced to 11 years in prison. It's like the lightest slap on the hand sentence ever for doing such a heinous crime. This was his best friend. They were close. Like, this is just crazy because people get time longer for less serious crimes. So, in case you guys are unaware, 2 types of homicide in California. You can see the difference. And so he received the voluntary manslaughter as the law was stating he didn't commit that when he did that. Stabbed him 18 times. How? But of course, while he's incarcerated, he finds God, and so he's taking accountability and saying, I understand my actions and devastations that I cause. I'm not gonna excuse it for being under the influence, yada, yada, yada. But they try to say that because of the combination of things in his system, plus a pre-existing psychiatric disorder, he couldn't tell right from wrong. So 11 years, and this guy, if you could go down a rabbit hole, there is actually interviews with him where he's like, I don't know how to sympathize with the victims and the wife and the kids. And, this is where the story just gets crazy. Now, here's Heather Bishop. Ryan Roth was her husband. She had the 2 boys with him. And when she found out that Branden Terell was being released in Petaluma, where she lived, it was a big problem. One, he was released early from the 11-year sentence that he got, and he was in the same community as her. So she went out, made flyers, put it on poles, let everybody know from the mountaintops, hey, this is who we got living over here. She didn't want them to come in contact with, her children or anything, and it was devastating for her to have to even think about any of these things. Now, she has some great story times, guys, so I suggest that you follow her and go take a gander at, this is her and her mom, and they're talking about the whole story. She goes into full detail here about what has happened. And very eye-opening to me, because I'm just baffled that he served such a little sentence for such a heinous crime, but somebody fucked up somewhere. But this poor woman and her children, who are now 17 and older now, this is where I start getting pissed. So as you watch this and you listen to everything going on, and I've already come across Branden Terell on TikTok, like him and his wife. And I had no idea, because there's a lot of people that date incarcerated. We've seen Ashley Trevino, right? They just date all these people, prisoners, and get married to them, have a life, and blah, blah. So this guy did do that. When Branden was released, him, his wife, their kid, they had a child. So, of course, this lady decides she's going to do I'm a prison wife type TikToks and start getting some following up while she's, waiting for him to get out of prison. And, Ashley Trevino, there's a lot of women that do that, and they get all these people want to see it. It's a train wreck. But either way, this woman starts making some profits off of this story. And when he comes out, she's actually been thirst trapping videos with her husband, or he's standing on a ladder and he's like ripped and he's painting, or he's doing some house fixing and she's using it for thirst trap type grabs. It's like, why are we idolizing and why are you putting your husband out there like that when he is a fucking murderer? And it's not even like it's just like a defense thing or anything. Like, what was happening? So either way, they're trying to capitalize and sell for his looks and for his time in prison. And I just don't think it's fucking right. I don't think that that should be allowed. I think that there should be some son of Sam law in place stating, hey, no, this guy cannot make money like that. He's going to have to go get a regular job. I'm not trying to idolize this dude or make it sound like he's a good human. Incarcerated or not, however much he's changed, I don't give a shit. I saw the interview once he came out, and it shows me that he doesn't. You could easily say, yeah, I feel bad for the things that I've done, but when you literally, it's so quick and short, and then you want to say that you don't know how to sympathize. Like, what do you mean you don't know how to sympathize? Why would you even say that on a camera if you just don't have sympathy? It's just the things like this where I can't understand why TikTok is like this and we make the wrong people famous, or like up there and get some clout or get some money. And it just doesn't add up to me. Now, as you can see, Mr. Brandon, he got some coaching up speaker now. He's just out here telling his story. Well, what about the man who cannot speak anymore? Whose like children had to grow up without a father. The mom had to raise them alone, and they had a rocky relationship. So here's Heather Bishop. Like I said, please go give her a follow or look at her stuff. But she goes into full detail and explains how her and her husband were going through, some times where they separated, but they were still trying to make it work. He had fallen into some drug usage himself, and he started doing things to get himself right, going to programs. At the time of his murder, he had 6 months clean, and they had been working together to get the family back and starting fresh, but little by little, but things were going well. So this just happened to come out of nowhere and change her whole life, and I can't. So I mean, there is a TikTok page and stuff for the Terrells, but I'm not posting that. If you guys want to go down a rabbit hole and find it yourself, go ahead. But I just don't want to give them any more clout than they're already getting from people. And I'm hoping that we can hear Heather's story. I want to do a live about this. I want to know what you guys think because there's so much to unpack here. And I want to advocate for this woman because this isn't right. Justice was not served. And this guy should not be on social media and gaining attention like he's some sort of icon. He's not. And he should not be labeled as one. He should not be thirst trapped after. He should be doing something. If you want to do something positive from something negative, then yes, you can, by all means go out and do that. But if you're not doing anything to support the family that you like stole the dad, father, husband out of their life, you get to raise your child now with a family, right? With the mom and dad both intact. No profit should go to you whatsoever. You should be having to do some hard labor, and everything should be advocated to give this woman some restitution for everything that you've done. I'm really hoping that Heather and her mom civilly sue them or go after them because I really just can't stand what happens. Like each state is different, granted, and clearly there was some balls dropped here. But listening to this woman, my heart goes out to her. This is starting to get some traction. I want to know what you guys think or what you've seen, and if you'd be willing to do a live, and maybe we could, just at least push the news out for Heather and get this out there just to advocate, because I'm sure there's other people that are going through that same type of situation. We see it all the time. But again, I hope you guys have a great rest of your night and drop me a comment.